Friday morning, Washington, D.C. WikiLeaks and the Russian connection obviously matters a lot, trying to explore this very question.
How are you, man?
Hey, good to see you. What's going on? So, your first encounter with this story was what?
Well, we have seen a lot of Russian activity going around, but the big moment of change came in June of this year when a company called CrowdStrike first came out with pretty convincing evidence that there were Russian hackers who were behind the attack on the Democratic National Committee.
Dmitri.
Dmitri, how are you? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Come on in.
Okay, let's shoot some pool.
So the DNC had called us. They didn't know if they had a breach, but they saw some suspicious signs in their network. So they called us in, and within a couple hours, we noticed that there were actually 2 adversaries on their network, which we tied to the Russian military intelligence, an agency called GRU, and the other group, which we actually tied to the FSB, the successor to the KGB, their primary intelligence agency. I actually think that they did not plan to start leaking in the summer. With us going public with our attribution, completely accelerated their timeline. They panicked and they said, we need a distribution channel. Why don't we go to WikiLeaks?
And because WikiLeaks is WikiLeaks, it's like having something appear on the front page of a big newspaper. And then we suddenly realized that this was sort of old-style Russian information warfare.
That's exactly what it is. It's information operations.
Right.
And that's how the Russians actually think of cyber. They think about it, how do we use cyber to weaken our opponents' defenses psychologically? The goal is not just to try to influence the election in favor of one candidate or the other, but to actually discredit the entire process.
You don't have to hack all 50 states.
Right.
All you need to do is create enough chaos, maybe in the voter registration rolls. You show up, sorry your name's not on the list, that happens to 1,000 people in the line behind you. Right. And that just sows doubt about the quality of the vote.
And that plays into Putin's overall objective, which is ultimately to weaken the American presidency. It is certainly my belief that the goal is not just to try to influence the election in favor of one candidate or the other, but to actually discredit the entire process.
I think his motive is to show that he's got more than nuclear weapons in his arsenal, and to show that he has to be reckoned with and dealt with some respect.
It's all about influence, it's all about propaganda. That's how the Russians think about this. So the government is not prepared for the propaganda campaign that's about to unfold.
Yeah, man, now you're starting to freak me out. Where are you from?
I was born in Russia.
Right. And when did you leave?
I left 20 years ago.
Right.
Okay.
You were actually the guy running one of the bears. Fancy bears, as far as
No, I'm not. I'm not a double agent.
Right.